They got the Jets week 1. I predict that the 49ers are going to win, but what I will say is something that's going to be very interesting is going to be the absence of Dre Greenlaw. How is that going to have an effect on a guy who can break out for long touchdowns like Brees Hall? You know, the I feel like the Jets upgraded their wide receiver room because they also, they added Mike Williams, who yes is coming off an ACL injury, but he is one of those players that can have a great week, have a bad week, and it won't be the first time in his career that he's going to be bouncing back from a big injury. And then the Jets also added wide receiver Malachi Corley, so he's the third round wide receiver in the draft, and I remember his name being bounced around about like players that the 49ers could potentially target, where he's kind of like a mini Debo, or at least that's the comparison that I had heard. My gut is telling me to pick the 49ers in this game, so I'm going to go with the 49ers because I feel like I've seen this current Niners team beat Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, so much. I feel like it's a mismatch of, the defensive line is able to sort of rattle Rodgers. I don't know. What do you think, Mike? I'm picking the Niners.
Yeah, I'm also picking the Niners for this one. I just think, for one thing, Rodgers is like 40, 41 years old. Like, it's been 2 or 3 years since we've seen like MVP Rodgers, if not longer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's been probably at least 2 years since we've seen him really play like at a good level. So I don't know. I think when before we kind of cut off to our tangent topics, what my point was with this game is just a lot of people are hyping up the Jets right now, and I'm still not buying it. I have a very interesting opinion that I'll get to on the Raiders aspect of this, but or the Raiders schedule, but the AFC is tough, to sum it up. And I just think people are thinking like, "Oh, the Jets are going to make a run at the AFC East." Okay. Cool. Yeah, their defense is good. They have a former two-time, three-time, however many MVP, at quarterback. They have Brees Hall, they have Garrett Wilson. They bolstered their offensive line, yes, but their offensive tackles are two guys that are like both above 33 years old or something and had injury issues last season. Like, they made the right move in the first round by drafting Olu Fashanu, and he'll be probably their emergency tackle. But
And they signed Tyron Smith.
no, that's what I mean. They
Mm-hmm.
signed Tyron Smith, who had injury history this past season.
Oh,
Morgan Moses, they traded for on the right side. Two guys that had injuries, I want to say, last year. Um, so if they can't stay healthy, good luck keeping Rodgers healthy, And I think that's
mm-hmm.
the trick to it all, is just if he can stay healthy, they can probably be really good because they're going to have a good run game. They have good receivers, or at least solid receivers. One great receiver. Um, and their offensive line, like I said, they got bolstered. So they can play good, but this is a home opener for the Niners on what is it, Monday Night Football?
Monday Night Football. Yeah, prime time.
Yeah, the Niners are going to win this game. Maybe it'll be telling like, hey, the Jets are serious. They made it a game here, but the Niners should win.
I think it'll be a close game. I could definitely see it being a close game. And listening to Grant Cohn speak about the Jets, I guess I want to say that he mentioned that he spoke to Robert Saleh at the owners meetings because he knew Robert Saleh from when he coached with the 49ers as defensive coordinator. And Saleh was saying how the New York media is like super like
Hard,
very
harsh.
very harsh, critical, and Shanahan doesn't understand how good he has it.
Mm,
It's like they make the media out here in the Bay Area without saying the word soft, but seem very soft, right?
yeah.
And so, I think that's just like kind of East Coast versus West Coast. But uh, Robert Saleh was saying like they're already kind of waiting for him to get fired, but like he kind of is like, why don't they want to wait and see, because like we just went 7-10 without our starting quarterback. Imagine if we add, a starting quarterback, or add Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day for the Jets, this is going to be kind of the Hail Mary, if you will, as
This
far
is
as
the
the season
window.
goes. This is their window. Maybe you can extend it 1 year if they play good. Rodgers looks like his old self to a degree, and the team makes the playoffs. Maybe they even win a playoff game. Then yeah, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is like, I'm not done, and they keep Saleh for another year and they run it back. But I just think more than anything, this year is like whether or not Saleh will remain as their head coach.
Yep.
If they fail, whether or not Rodgers gets hurt, he's gone, and probably their GM too. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's a prove it year for Robert Saleh. But let's go on to week 2. So we got the 49ers versus the Vikings. Last year, I said the 49ers were going to go to town on the Vikings, and I was wrong. The 49ers are going to have to go back into that same building, but it's not going to be a primetime game. It's going to be 10 a.m. On CBS. And what do you think, Mike? Early thoughts on this?
Oh, the Niners going to win. It's a rookie quarterback. You might even see Sam Darnold, although I doubt it. But yeah, no, I just I think the Vikings, this is going to be like a uphill year for them. Not in like a make the playoffs sort of way, but more of like they start off slow or something, and then as the season progresses, they get a little better and better, and then maybe next year they're a really strong team. Mm-hmm. But I just don't see it for them this year.
Yeah, so far we have the 49ers at 2-0. We both have them there. Week 3 at the Rams. It's going to be an afternoon game. What do you think, Mike?
I'm going to give this one to the Rams.
Really?
In their house? Yeah.
You mean Levi South in the Niners home away from home?
Yeah, I think to spoil week 15 for you, I'll give them the split. So I'll give this one to the Rams, and then week 15 I'm going to give to the Niners.
Okay. I'm going to go with the 49ers on this one, only because I feel like the Rams' best player in Aaron Donald just retired. I need to see Braden Fisk be able to, I don't know if you can hear the airplane outside. Somebody must be watching Oppenheimer on Dolby IMAX.
Throw it
down! Yeah. No, I'm in the middle of a war out here. It literally did sound like a fighter jet. Yeah.
Down.
Okay. All right.
Dude, it would have been.
I need to see
if we had a soundboard and we could press a button and get an explosion noise. It would have been amazing. That's all I can say.
We're falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I need to see if they can replace Aaron Donald. I know Aaron Donald didn't necessarily make that big of an impact when, the 49ers would play the Rams. But, I think that I haven't seen Brock Purdy lose to the Rams yet. Last year, it was Sam Darnold versus Carson Wentz in that final game. And I don't know. I just have the feeling that the 49ers are going to play well. Deebo Samuel typically plays well against the Rams. Yeah, give me the 49ers in this one. That's just what my gut tells me. I've got the 49ers 3-0, and you have them at 2-1. Okay. All right. Next up, we have the Patriots. I think we can both agree that we're going to get blown out, right? I'm just kidding. No, the Niners, I think they're going to just completely cakewalk. It's going to be a cakewalk past the Patriots. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I agree. This is your second rookie quarterback in 4 weeks, and I think that's a dub for you guys.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Is like I feel like it's such an advantage to play against rookie quarterbacks very early on in the season because that's when they're getting their footing in the NFL and they're getting adjusted to the speed versus like, the college speed that they were playing in. So, JJ McCarthy, if he is the starter, in week 2, is going to be sort of thrown into the fire. I don't know who the Vikings play week 1, but week 2, he's going to be going against a very talented defense with the 49ers. So Drake May is the quarterback for the Patriots and should be the starter week 4, barring any, getting benched or getting injured, knock on wood. But Drake May has been touted as this quarterback who it needs a lot of development. So this is very early on in his career. And I could see him just sort of like, like I said earlier, getting his footing and, developing to hopefully be better in the long term, as opposed to just hitting the ground running and making the Patriots a Super Bowl contender overnight. Which typically rookie quarterbacks don't make teams Super Bowl contenders overnight unless you're the Texans. So we currently have we're both saying Patriots, right, Mike?
No, we are saying Niners.
I meant to say Niners, but yeah, I guess that's the double joke. We probably lost a viewer or two there with me saying we both have the Patriots. No, we both have the Niners. I got them at 4-0. You got them at 3-1. Okay. Week 5 versus the Cardinals. What do you think, Mike?
I would say give this one to the Niners. It's at home.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals are going to be way tougher than last year. I think Kyler's now a second year off the ACL. He's going to have Marvin Harrison, who, just like the quarterbacks, he might start a little slower than his season may finish, but like most rookie wide receivers, I would say. But then again, I think this guy is kind of prepped to be a pro's pro. So for all we know, he might come out the gates week 1 and score 2 touchdowns. And it's like, oh my goodness, who is this dude? But regardless, I don't see the Cardinals beating you guys in your house in week 5.
Yeah, I've got the 49ers over the Cardinals. I just don't see it. But then again, I've said it before on this podcast, and I will say it again. I did not see a way that the 49ers could have lost to the Cardinals back in 2021 when Colt McCoy was starting, and a lot of the Cardinals players were not playing. Like it was crazy to me that the 49ers got blown out right in front of my face. Like I'm so glad that I had a good tailgate and I didn't have to watch that fully upset. I still had a good time.
Yeah, that's why predictions are never going to be perfect. And also, who has the toughest schedule, or when we're done with this and it's like, okay, we have the Niners at this record and the Raiders at this record, it's like maybe less for us because we're more in line with the teams. But if, say, just a random name, Daniel Jeremiah is a guy I respect, and Peter Schrager too, but let's say one of them says the Raiders are going to go 5 and what would it be? 5-9? No, 5-11. 5-11, and I'm sitting here like, that's ridiculous. In the same breath, and then they go and they win 9 games, or somebody sees, say, the Vikings as maybe the consensus is like, oh, the Vikings, they're going to win 9 games this year, and they go out and they win 5. It's like, in that right there, it's like, that's why it doesn't matter. It's what matters is game by game, do you win, do you lose, which is obviously that's obvious, but just, I guess my whole point to this is like the Raiders versus the Chiefs. Anybody betting money on the game that isn't a Raider fan is probably putting money on the Chiefs. That's free money. And then the Raiders kick their ass on Christmas. You'll never know when those games come, but they're going to happen every single year. Any given year, the Patriots could beat you guys. You never know. But for for betting and predicting sakes, we're going to say that, these teams that are not expected to beat the Niners are not going to beat the Niners. But that's maybe part of the reason why I would predict the Rams to beat you guys week 3 is because on paper they shouldn't. But I can see them splitting with you guys,
Yeah, I would say at the end, I would like obviously with our predictions for each game, we're going to come to a concrete number of what we think is going to happen, but really it's going to be more of a range because throughout the season, there's inevitably that one game that a team loses that you just can't explain how it happened. You know,
The Raiders
like
versus the Bears last year.
yeah,
The Bears were
or
garbage.
yeah, or like, last year nobody would have predicted that the Cowboys were going to lose to the Cardinals, but they did. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So it always happens in like every football season. And then like the games that you predict that the team is going to lose, they might pick up a win right there. And it's like, wow, that was unexpected. Like the Raiders beat the Packers. And, I feel like mostly everybody thought that the Packers were going to win, right? Or was that the Steelers?
No, the Steelers beat us. I would say, if
Okay.
anything, it was the Chiefs game,
I'll look right now. It was the Chiefs game is another good example to that. But last year, the Raiders, Packers, yeah, we both picked the Packers to win that game, and the Raiders ended up winning. That was week 5.
Yeah.
It was a primetime game, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken.
I want to say it was a Monday night game.
Yeah. So currently, I have the 49ers at 5-0. And then you have the Niners at 4-1. I'd say either way, that's pretty good shape. So the next matchup is going to be at the Seahawks. What do you think, Mike? I've seen people split on this one.
I think the Seahawks are going to be very interesting this year, as usual, in the sense that I can't gauge them right now. I can't tell you what their offensive coordinator is going to be like. I can't tell you if Geno Smith is going to go back to 2022 form or he's going to be more in line with 2023 where he's not that special. And then, if he does that, then it's, unless they draft a quarterback, man, the Seahawks are kind of in quarterback purgatory, just maybe one step ahead of the Raiders. But this season, something nobody would project, but Aiden O'Connell could go out there and look like a starting quarterback, and Geno Smith could suck, and then it's like two franchises just flipped. But I'd say week 6 with a new offensive coordinator in prime time, I'm going to go with the Niners.
Not just a new offensive coordinator, but a brand new head coach.
Brand new head coach for the Seahawks. Yep. It's a new regime, really.
The funny thing about the coach of the Seahawks, he was the defensive coordinator, of the Ravens last year. And, people talk about how, the Niners got blown out by the Ravens, and the Ravens had 4 interceptions in that game, or at least they intercepted Brock Purdy 4 times. I forget if Sam Darnold threw one, sort of in garbage time in that game. But I want to say there was an interview that came out where they were talking about, I want to say the coach's name is Mike McDonald, or it might be, something McDonald. But, they were talking to Jim Harbaugh about, McDonald's defense. And I think Jim Harbaugh mentioned like, what do you mean? That's John Harbaugh's defense. So, sort of threw McDonald under the bus a little bit, with sort of insinuating that, his brother John should get more credit, but kind of take it with a grain of salt because he is talking about his brother and obviously like wants his brother to be doing good. But the Seahawks, I think they're a team that definitely has the tools, to be good. They don't have the quarterback, in my opinion. I'm going to pick the 49ers based on that reason. I don't think that Geno Smith I just can't see him beating, the 49ers, who do have a quarterback who's playing really well right now. Brock Purdy, I've seen him even in the playoffs play well against the Seahawks. So I think Brock Purdy can go on the road into Seattle which has been a hard place for the 49ers to win over the past 10 years, more than 10 years. I think he can do that. So I'm picking the 49ers, and sounds like you are too. Okay. So against Kansas City, this is my message to Chiefs fans. I just want to say this is your opportunity now to throw in the towel. Wave the white flag now, because we're going to be the ones waving the white flag later on. I got the 49ers losing their first game against the Chiefs week 7. I know it doesn't sound very hopeful, but I've seen it enough times. I've seen the 49ers, under Kyle Shanahan lose to the Kansas City Chiefs under Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes far too many times. I need to see it happen before I can bet that it will happen.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs just have a knack of getting in a situation where they need to win a playoff game, which you need to win every playoff game, but essentially the Chiefs are clutch, and once they're put on the big stage, it's time, win or go home. They just always win. And I think this is a good moment to mention that the Niners are apparently currently, as of today, favored in every single matchup that they have this season, which is wild because, again, they play the Chiefs this season. Granted, I'm picking the Niners.
Wow. Okay, you're picking the Niners.
Because
I already had you put down for the Chiefs.
This is not a win or go home game. I think this is I want my get back game for the Niners. In their house.
I could see that too. I could definitely see a scenario where the 49ers win. I'm just saying that I have not seen it yet. You know what I mean? I could see where the Chiefs are just slacking off all season. They're like, we'll figure it out later, and it doesn't matter as much to them as it matters for the 49ers. I can see that.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's going to be a loss somewhere later, at some point there's going to be a loss. 2 years ago, when Brock Purdy was a rookie, the 49ers played against the Chiefs when they first acquired Christian McCaffrey. And yeah, McCaffrey didn't know the playbook, but it was a regular season game, and the Chiefs blew out the 49ers. And the Niners were good. So I need to see the Niners prove it to me in that game that they can beat the Chiefs. And, because Andy Reid, man, is he I would say in the NFL currently, he's probably the toughest coach to coach against.
Oh, he's got to be.
Yeah. I mean, he has the rings for a reason. So, another thing I want to say about that Chiefs game, and I was thinking about it earlier today. If there's a game that I don't even want to win, it might even be that one, because even if we win, all right, if we win, we get reminded of the Super Bowl. At least if we lose, we're just, it's just, hey, we beat you today. And it's not like, oh, you guys are just regular season champions, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? I would rather just take the L on that day than have to hear that shit. But obviously, I want the Niners to win, and I can just tune that shit out. But I just know it's what it's going to be. It's going to be, talk about, oh, we won when it mattered, in terms of like the shit talk from the fans. Obviously, it's better to win. But in terms of a fan to fan interaction perspective, it's like you pick your poison. You either take the fresh wound, or they pick at the scab of the scar that they left back in February.
Do you think by any chance, if the Niners were to lose to the Chiefs week 7, 2024, that the Niners players, probably not all of them, maybe not many of them, but some of them that just think about this a little too hard or something, might come out of that going, fuck, we cannot beat these guys. And it kind of creates this little cancer for the team of like, we can't beat them. You know,
I think
it almost maybe it derails their hype for like a few weeks or something. I don't know. Maybe until after the bye week. I don't know.
it could, but I don't think it will. Because like I literally saw this team, with like this core of players like George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk. I guess we've lost a lot of those players along the way. Like Debo Samuel's still here. I seen those guys lose a Super Bowl and still party afterwards. To Lil Wayne, like
Yes.
that. That to me, that's sort of been the vibe of this team, where it's like it all stems from the top with Jed York, because Jed York has like since came out and like talked about he was asked about his comments that he made like over a decade ago, or about a decade ago, where he says like we don't raise NFC championship banners, we raise Super Bowl banners. And now he's sort of like switched his tune, and Jed York seems much more like he's like, oh, I understand now that it's hard to get here, blah blah blah, and second place is still very good. I don't want to hear that crap. I don't want to hear that shit. Like, I don't know. Essentially, translation to anybody who's a fan, it's we're still making a lot of money, so we're fine. I guarantee you, if they were in second place every year, but they were getting like the crowd turnouts that the Oakland A's are getting right now, I don't think everything would be fine. To the Yorks, it's not about winning and losing. It's about being able to fill out Levi Stadium.
It's about filling out the stadium and at some fucking point winning the big game.
Well, it used to be about winning the big game, and that's actually what got Jed York in trouble like 10 years ago when he fired Harbaugh because he couldn't win the big game. And then he found Shanahan. Shanahan got him back to essentially the Niners are back to where they were 10 years ago in terms of like success, like right on the doorstep. They just, right next to the mountaintop. It's just they keep crashing back down, keep getting right next to the mountaintop, can't get over the hump. So I mean, do I understand the thought process from Jed York? Yeah. I guess I just would prefer an owner that's like, won't accept anything but winning. Like an owner that really wants to be all in on winning. I guess that's what I want. So that's just where I'm at as a fan. If you think differently, I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong. I just know what I want from my team. But let's go ahead and get on to week 8 versus the Cowboys. Mike, you think the Cowboys are finally going to pull it out this time? They have Ezekiel Elliott back.
Yeah, I think their run game is so weak that they're not going to win this game unless they could do something like the Raiders did to the Chiefs, where they just sort of overpower the Niners. But I don't think they can. So I have the Niners.
Dude, that's another thing that I didn't even think about, which could be big in like a game like the Rams game and the Chiefs game, even the Seahawks game a little bit. But, I touched on it for week 1, but I didn't really touch on it for, any of the other matchups. What is the defense going to look like without Dre Greenlaw? The Chiefs were able to exploit the fact that Dre Greenlaw was out of the game after, he got injured. Are the 49ers going to be able to fill that hole? So in terms of the Chiefs, I feel better about that, about me not siding with the 49ers on that week in terms of my prediction. When it comes to the Cowboys, I still think the 49ers have enough firepower to beat the Cowboys. I've seen it multiple times. I think that we're going to see it again. And it's going to be another primetime game, right? It'll be Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. So you and I are both picking the Niners in that one. And we currently have the 49ers at 7-1. Yeah, I think we have them
Yes.
7-1 going into the bye week. Obviously, they're not playing anybody during the bye week. Then they travel to Tampa Bay and face the Buccaneers. What do you think, Mike?
Niners win.
I got the Niners too. I've seen it over the past several years. I don't think that the Buccaneers have made any drastic moves to surpass the 49ers, talent-wise, or given me any indication as to why I think that they should beat the 49ers this go around. Now let's go back home. The 49ers are playing the Seahawks. So you said that they were going to split with the Seahawks, right? No. You said they were going to split with the Rams.
Yeah.
Do you think that the 49ers will split with the Seahawks?
Believe it or not, no. No, I think this might be a year where they take a little step back, and I could see the Seahawks in theory being this like really tough team that squeaks out win after win, gets on a little hot streak mid-season, and finds themselves as the 6th or 7th seed. I could see it, especially in the NFC. If they were in the AFC, forget it. They're not making the playoffs. But in the NFC, you can make the playoffs. If the Raiders were in the NFC, they could make the playoffs. But I just I think against the Niners, I'm not really seeing it this year. And I mean, okay. I feel like every time I look at a schedule, and I think earlier today we were talking about a schedule, and it was the same thing. It's like you see, say, let's say, okay, week 2 against the Vikings, right? Well, week 1 and week 3 are really tough games, let's just say. That week 2 game against the easy team is a must win, right? For us as like the viewers looking at the schedule, that's how we feel. But the team is like, we're attacking this one game at a time. Every game is must win, right? My point here, this Seahawks game is a must win because the rest of your schedule is nuts. It's about to take off. So
let's talk about the hard part of the 49ers schedule.
Let's go ahead. The Seahawks, right? I mean, we both have the Niners.
We both have the Niners. Yeah. See, it's like you're talking about a team, and then like you have to like come to your conclusion, and then it's just whatever's instantly on the mind. So now we have at the Packers. What do you think, Mike? This is going to be a close game, I think, because it was very close in the playoffs, and the Packers now have Josh Jacobs, who I think is a better running back than Aaron Jones, but you would be able to tell me, firsthand, because you had Josh Jacobs for however many years. You have his jersey. What do you think?
Fucking sucks. No, he is I would say he's an upgrade to Aaron Jones, and especially age-wise. He's a different running back than Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones was more of the elusive, throw me the ball, kind of quick cut sort of guy, whereas Josh Jacobs, he's quick cut, he's elusive, but he's also got some power to him, but I think I think their run game should be better. I think Josh Jacobs is going from a team that had a not so successful passing offense to a team that was one of the most successful passing offenses, and I think that will help him. I also think the Packers defense got better this offseason, and pairing all those reasons along with Jordan Love and a receiving core that is really young, but like sort of underrated. I'm giving this one to the Packers.
I respect it. It's a very hard game to predict. The 49ers, obviously, they had their trouble with the Packers in the playoffs, almost didn't make it out of that divisional game. And this is going to be a game at Lambeau in or actually late November, almost December. So it's going to be cold. If I had to predict a game that the Niners would slip up, it would have to be this Packers game, in terms of the games that I'm going to predict the 49ers to win. So I'm willing to acknowledge I'm going to pick the 49ers to win, but if they don't, or, if there is a game that I predict that they win, this would be one, or that I predict that they win, that they won't, this would be one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and put myself down for the 49ers, and you are going to be on the Packers. So currently, as it stands, we were at 7-1 before the bye week. And now I'm at 10-1 with the 49ers. Obviously, do I think that's realistic? Like, not in the grand scheme of things when you really think about it, but like, I'm just going week to week. And obviously there's going to be different rest, weather, preparation that goes into the reason why, injuries, as to why I'm going to be wrong, but I will try to be a little bit more accurate when it comes to my range of the floor of outcomes and the ceiling. So right now I feel like we're looking at the ceiling when it comes to my predictions. So you got the Packers. So I got the Niners 10-1. You have them 9-2. Is that correct?
That sounds correct.
So now we have the 49ers playing at the Bills. And this is going to be a very, it should be easy to predict, because you should just think about the mass exodus that the Bills just had, to their roster. But the thing is how cold, is it going to be snowing in Buffalo, in December? I'd have to imagine that it is. And I have not seen Brock Purdy play in the snow yet.
2 straight weeks, just some of the coldest stadiums possible.
Yep, and it was almost 3 in a row if the Bears win was a road game.
Yeah. Yeah, but then after the Bills game, your schedule lightens up as far as stadiums go. Mm-hmm. This is one where I could see you choosing the Bills, but I look at the Bills roster, and I think they are not as good as last season. So I'm going to pick the Niners.
I almost want to flip my, it's so tough, man. This is, one thing that we haven't even talked about is the Niners are supposed to be on a Super Bowl hangover. This is going to be a Sunday night football game. It's going to be cold, man. It's going to be really cold. We're going to be going against a team that's actually like really, or at least Josh Allen. But I'm going to pick the 49ers. I know it's not shocking because I picked the Niners in damn near every game. I was planning on picking the Bills, but thinking about it more, I think that I just don't know about the supporting cast that Josh Allen has. You know what I mean? They lost Stephon Diggs, their best receiver. They have Keon Coleman coming in. They have Curtis Samuel coming in. I'm sure that they'll be better than they are on paper, but I just don't know what it's going to look like. So I'm going to pick the 49ers. And you are also picking the 49ers?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. But like I said, makes me look at that Packers game sideways. And it shouldn't, because it should be like looking at each one individually. But I'd say last season, it's funny. I picked the 49ers in every single game. And I was right for most of them. So, I'm carrying that tradition into 2024. So versus the Bears, this game I could see as like a little bit of a trap game. But I'm going to pick the 49ers because I think the Bears they have great weapons. And that's what kind of scares me about the Bears. But I just don't think that their running game is going to be able to hit the Niners in their current weakness of the rush attack right now in order to be able to win win that game. I have to see it from Caleb first. I don't want to project that the Niners are going to lose based on nothing. I'm going Niners.
Yeah, I think if this were at Chicago, I would pick Chicago, just for the sake of
The weather.
that kind. Well, the weather, but also just that kind of being the game that, wow, I didn't expect the Niners to lose to them, and then they do.
Mhm.
And the Bears are kind of prepping for a little playoff run. But no, I'm gonna give this one to the Niners, but I think it might be closer than expected.
Okay. So then the 49ers are going to be, playing another game at home against the Rams, and it is going to be a Thursday night
Looks like
game.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a Thursday night game against the Rams. I'm sure that this will be a game that the Niners are wearing their throwback unis, and I've got surprise, surprise. I got the Niners in this one. I sound like a homer, but I swear, if the Niners were not as good as they are right now, I would be, I wouldn't be picking them to win as much. Like right now, it just sounds like I'm like, yeah, the Niners can't be beat by anyone, But I swear,
Besides the Chiefs.
yeah, besides the Chiefs. But this is, I need Anthony to bring me down, back down to earth. Anthony says, forget the Niners. Yeah, in a very, very nice way to put it, right? Let's see here. I got the Niners in this one.
Yeah, I'm curious what the Rams have week 14. I highly doubt they have a week 14 bye. I think like one or two teams had a week 14 bye last year.
A new drinking game. Take a drink every single time that I say Niners in my predictions.
Hold on one sec. 2024 Rams. Does anybody else do this where maybe my thumb is getting fat, where when I'm typing, I try to hit the space button and I hit the fucking period? So annoying.
Anthony, let us know if that happens to you. It doesn't happen to me, but
Damn it.
I think
Okay.
they don't call him Michael Fat Thumbs for nothing.
So week 14, sorry. The Rams play the Bills. It looks like at home, so in LA, on December 8th. So it's not like they're coming off Thursday Night Football or something. They're coming off the same schedule as the Niners. Only difference is it's going to be in the Niners' house. So I'm also going to pick the Niners here.
Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one. So you are picking the 49ers. And right now, I have the 49ers at 13-1. Jeez.
Yep.
What a great season. And you've got the Niners at 12-2.
Yep.
Okay. So, versus at the Dolphins. This is going to be an afternoon game. What do you think, Mike?
I think the Niners going to be at this point, by prediction standards, the Niners at this point will be fighting for the 1 seed in the NFC, whereas the Dolphins should be fighting for probably winning the AFC East. I feel like the Dolphins lost quite a few players this offseason, including Christian Wilkins, a few offensive linemen. They let go of Xavier Howard. And I can't exactly say that they filled those positions, I can see the Dolphins making the playoffs this year, but I can also see them not. And I think for that reason, I'm picking the Niners.
I don't have a lot of faith in Tua, and he's apparently about to get paid. So that's going to make it so much harder to build a talented roster around Tua. I guess what I have to say is last year I want to say the Niners played the Dolphins too, and the Niners kicked ass. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I know for a fact they did play 2 years ago.
I feel like they played them last year, but I don't quite remember.
Last year, let's see. Steelers, Rams, Giants, Cardinals, Cowboys, Browns, Vikings, Bengals. No, it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. They played the Dolphins 2 years ago. I want to say that was Purdy's first game. It was when he got thrown into the fire.
Oh, I was at the game. Yeah.
You were there.
Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, Tyreek Hill is always going to be a mismatch for, like damn near every cornerback in the league because he's so fast. But I don't think it will be enough. I think the Dolphins are kind of soft, and I'm going with the Niners.
Yep.
Okay.
So what do we have the Niners at?
So you're also picking the Niners?
Yeah.
Okay. You have the Niners at 14-2, and I've got them at 15-1.
Wait, 14-2?
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
13.
13-2.
Yep.
And I got them 14-1.
Okay.
Now versus the Lions, what do you think, Mike?
13-3.
You're picking the Lions.
Yes, sir.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old Dan Campbell?
This, at least I hope, this is the battle for the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Lions improved in the draft. I could, you know what? I got to give the Niners some losses somewhere because they're not just going to be cakewalking all over the NFL. I will say if this is a battle for the 1 seed, I like the Lions in this game if it is that, because the Lions had their foot on the 49ers' throat in the playoffs.
Yeah, for 2.5 quarters. Yeah, they did.
And I don't know if Dan Campbell is going to be as reckless as he was last year, given that it cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. I get that it got them there, but I'm sure that if he would have just played smart in those games, they probably are in the same situation. They probably end up in the NFC Championship anyway. And if he just plays smart, the Lions might be Super Bowl champions right now.
I wish.
Yeah. So I'm going to just sort of, maybe the 49ers have the 1 seed on lock, but I'm going to pick the Lions. You have convinced me that it's going to be the Lions. So, week 18 at Arizona, who do you got, Mike?
I think that whether it's the 1 seed or the 2 seed, the Niners will have it on lock, and the Niners will lose to the Cardinals.
For benching their backup? I mean, benching their starters, playing their backups?
I think no matter what, they lose to the Cardinals once this year. So I'm just going to put it here, just to be safe, assuming that they bench their starters, but I think they could lose week 5.
I'm assuming this game is going to be meaningless for the 49ers, so I will put Cardinals.
Yep.
And you also have Cardinals. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to this tab right here. We're not going to be going over potential postseason matchups because that's ridiculous to do in May. But currently, as it stands, ignore the total correct. I had to put something down, and hold on. Let me just go D11. There we go. Okay. So just to recap, I guess you can take a look at the screen, but currently I have the 49ers losing 3 games and winning 4. I have them at 14-3, and I would say that's probably their ceiling. Unless they wanted to just go bananas and go 15-2, 16-1.
Right.
And like go all out and like spend all their energy and leave nothing in the tank for the playoffs. I think I feel pretty good about a 14-3 record, 14-3 season for the 49ers. And you have them at 13-4, which might be a little bit more realistic. I just want to quickly say there you can account for one game that you cannot explain. Like you can't explain why they lost. So that would put the 49ers based on my prediction at 13-4, and then maybe
So you're saying like, oh, the Niners lost to the Buccaneers randomly.
yeah,
You're not really accounting for it.
Or the Niners lost to the freaking Vikings last year. What the hell happened? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like the range of outcomes, the Niners can be anywhere probably from, I'd say the floor is got to be
11.
The floor is 10-7. That's the very bottom of the floor. I can't see them not winning double-digit games.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't see it. A more realistic floor, probably 11-6.
Yeah.
The ceiling, I think I've shown. I'm showing you my ceiling right here. I'd say 14-3. That would be great season. Lock up the 1 seed. Run it back, try and win the Super Bowl this year. And then Mike, what would you say your floor is, and what's your ceiling? Is this your ceiling right here for the Niners?
I think I don't think I would exactly call it the ceiling. I have them at 13-4. I would say 15 wins is probably the ceiling for me. Okay. Which would be 15-2.
Yeah.
But I don't expect them to hit that. I think a more realistic look at the Niners is around 13-14 wins, but I could see it being 11-12 wins easily. I could see the Bills game flipping. The Bears game is interesting. Again, one of those Cardinals games. I have one of the Cardinals games as a loss for the Niners, but still. I said the Niners would win the Chiefs game. Maybe they lose to the Chiefs,
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to go ahead and put floor is 10-7. Ceiling is, I would say 15-2. And then I'll put prediction. We'll go, or mine was 14-3. And then your floor was what, Mike?
Floor, I would say 11-6.
Okay.
Prediction 13-4.
Okay. Ceiling 15-2.
Also 15-2, yeah.
Okay. We're gonna come back to this at the end of the season, and we'll see how we did, like in each little matchup.
Yeah.
And then I guess the real thing that matters, because like this doesn't necessarily matter. It'll be cool to like. I don't think we have to go in depth in each and every game. I think like when we do predict week to week, it would be cool to like go back. But like I'm really like curious about this stuff down here.
Yeah, it'll be cool to go back to our, May 16th ranking or predictions, but also every given week before the game, we're going to give a final prediction. So, at the end of the day, any one of these predictions today will be completely different in 3-4 months from now when they play these games, 5-6 months.
Yep.
So,
all right. Yeah. So I think we're ready to bounce it over to the Raiders. The ball is in your court, Mike. Raiders. Oh man, I've been looking forward to this all day. Honestly, like I know I've been looking forward to the Niner topic all day, but there's something in particular as to why I'm looking forward to the Raiders. Now, let me go ahead and pull up. Oh, hold on. Before we get to the Raiders, I do want to pull this up about, when talking about the 49ers. Sorry if I just like completely left all the Raider fans in the, on edge. But let me share my screen real quick. This is a big, I feel like, detail. The number of times that each NFL team plays an opponent coming off their bye week. The 49ers are playing more teams coming off their bye week than any other team in the NFL. I feel like that's huge because other, opposing teams are going to have more time to prepare against the 49ers. Yeah, it's literally just more preparation time. It's not going to make like the entire difference in those outcomes of those games. This doesn't break down which games specifically those are. I'm sure that as when the games actually do come on the doorstep, we're gonna know exactly like last year. I can tell you the Jacksonville Jaguars were coming off a bye, and the 49ers were also coming off a bye. So, I think that it is an advantage, but it's not everything. You know what I mean? It's not going to 100% determine one way or another how a game turns out. But it's just kind of shitty that the Niners. I saw this chart that was talking about the Niners being they have, I think, since the year 2002 or 2004, like somewhere along that time, that time frame. The Niners have the third least amount of, or I guess third most amount of opposing teams are going to have the third most rest when playing against the Niners, like over the past 22 years. So just very interesting. Last year it was the same thing for the Niners. Like I think it was probably, if not a very similar number, the exact same number of the amount of rest that other teams are going to be getting going into their matchup with the 49ers. And the Niners had a great season. So it's not everything. It is an advantage for other teams, but it does not mean that the Niners are going to lose.